Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Gaming with me, Tony Mo, and welcome to Watchdogs. This is a game that I've been looking forward to for a very long time, and it's now finally here, and I've decided to pick it up on PC, so I'm checking it out. Figured I'd give you guys my first impressions of the game. I've played it for a pretty decent chunk of time now, and I have to admit it's not everything I originally thought it was going to be. I think the early release footage, the early marketing for the game, at least had me convinced it was going to be something very different. That's not to say that I'm not happy with it. There's just some things that feel a bit strange, and I feel as if the game's almost kind of split in two at times, and the story to me is irrelevant. Let's start to break these things down slowly rather than quickly. One of the first things that Watchdogs does very well is have an absolute ton of really cool stuff to do. For example, right now we're doing a gang hideout, so what we're actually going to do is attempt to infiltrate the gang hideout. In this case, we're going to actually try and sort of humiliate the leader in front of everyone. Or take him down. I mean, we don't want to kill him, we want to knock him out. Of course, this is a very difficult task. I'm playing the game on realistic. There are 4 different difficulties. You have easy, normal, hard, and realistic. Sadly, realistic doesn't do as many things as I would like to see it do. It pretty much just makes the game harder. Enemies kill you more quickly. There's probably some other small things, but you still have access to like unlimited weapons. I can still carry around like 5 different assault rifles and 2 shotguns and 3 pistols, and none of that stuff seems to matter. It's all okay. But apart from that, decided to play in realistic. The game is definitely very punishingly difficult. If you do manage to become noticed by the enemies and pull like 50 reinforcements, you're gonna have a very bad day. The enemy uses grenades a lot. They won't just let you camp out in one tiny place. They'll throw lots and lots of frag grenades at you. Kind of like Stalker, actually, now that I think about it. But let's sort of break down what's going on the screen for those of you guys who maybe have never even seen Watch Dogs, don't know what's happening. We play as Aiden Pierce. We're a hacker in the city of Chicago. We can do lots of cool stuff with our smartphone. So we can actually profile targets, which is what I was in that mode. So we can see that this guy's name is Tom Barthus. He's 23, his police record, child pornography, embezzlement, domestic violence. His occupation is a technician, and his income is $40,000. Interestingly enough, he's a year younger than I am, and he's done a lot of messed up stuff in his life. I gotta say, I'm glad I'm not in his position. Now, we can also go about using this to do many other things, of course, like hacking into cameras, causing explosions. The list goes on and on and on. We can lower that forklift over there if we wanted to. He's gonna be like, whoa, what's going on? And what we'll do, actually, is sneak up behind him and take him out. Now, this isn't the classic Aiden Pierce outfit that you might be familiar with from E3 footage and all the other gameplay footage that we've seen in the game in the past. But the fact is, you can actually unlock different outfits. They're all themed in the same sort of way, you know, with sort of mask and all that good stuff. But they are very different, which is a nice little touch. Let's go ahead and distract this guy. As you can see, we have the opportunity to hack him. We're actually going to send him a text message.
Are you crazy? No way!
And he's just like, he's just freaking out. Let's take him down nice and quiet. We've also grabbed ourselves an SVD here. Not bad. So now we can, let me show you guys the camera system here. So we can actually access these cameras, which allows us to do a number of things. We can set off explosions. Again, we can distract this guy. That's actually going to use up our battery, as you can tell there. We had a little battery icon above that. And if you look to the bottom left, you'll see we have a battery that has 4 slots. So we've actually burned up one of those batteries. So let's go ahead and exit out of there. One piece of that battery, I should say. Let's see here. Watches cat videos daily. Frequently meets with police. So he's somebody's a bit dirty. All right. Now we don't want to go all crazy. If we can take out the head guy here without really causing any issue, that would be ideal. Issue is he's in a pretty good spot for us to be spotted by him. So a sticky situation indeed. He's kind of out in the open. If we drop that guy, he's gonna see him. This guy right here can call reinforcements. This guy can't. I don't think he can either. So if we can drop the dude who can call the reinforcements, we might be able to have an okay day and be able to take this guy out. So we're going to go for it. When he comes back around, we're going to shoot him in the face, see what can happen, because I want to show you guys some of the other portions, some of the other pieces of the game. So we're gonna take a pretty lengthy first impression here to kind of showcase you guys all the things that I find important in Watch Dogs. While we're waiting for this guy, one thing I did want to mention is that the PC version does seem to have some spotty optimization. There's parts of the game that run pretty great, parts of the games that don't. It also seems like AMD users are going to have a little bit more trouble than most. I run an AMD, I have an ATI 7770. A friend of mine has a lower rated GeForce card on a less powerful rig, and he is getting better frames than me on higher settings. You have to mess with it. Either way, the game looks damn pretty, I'll be honest. So rather than stick around and kill the rest of the enemies, we're just gonna get the hell out of there as we knock over that thing like a clumsy spy we are. Alright, and we blend back into society just like that. And we actually have to get out of the area. You can see there's some very interesting things you can learn about people, but let's take a chance to look at the progression wheel and the upgrade system essentially that you have. So by completing different side missions, you actually unlock abilities. It's pretty cool because in most open world games you do a side mission, they give you money, right? And then you use that money to buy things. Watch Dogs goes out of their way to actually give you access to unique items by doing the side missions. So as you can see from the gang hideout, we unlocked the AK-47 for doing one of them. Now if we complete some more, 5 gang hangouts will unlock reload speed of all weapons increase. And again, there's just more and more. And the same thing continues for the different contracts. So criminal convoys, crimes detected, and fixer contracts. Same thing goes for investigations, collectibles. You can even unlock stuff for collectibles. SMG-11. We got a car even. There's just so much stuff that is unlocked by doing mini games and other side contracts. You know, it's a nice change. I gotta be honest. Even online unlocks different things for you, which is awesome. You have the mini games here, which we will definitely get into because these are very interesting to say the least. And the one part of the game that I find very unique and also very Saints Row inspired in many ways. Then of course we have all of our main missions. They actually have the different acts. We can check them all out here. We can see what we unlock for completing them. Now if we go to our progression menu here, or I'm sorry, not a progression menu, our skill menu, we can see our skill tree. So I have 4 skill points available. If we pop into, let's say, into hacking, you can see we can unlock all of these different skills throughout the trees. We can go full on hacking, we can go more combat. I'm spending more points in hacking because I am playing on a harder difficulty, and combat is generally something that I do want to avoid as much as possible. So we can actually take control of the L train. I can unlock an ATM hack boost. These aren't really things that I use right now, but in order to get to the next level of something that I might want to use, I do need to unlock them. So I think what we're going to do is we're actually going to go for the ATM hack boost because that's going to allow us to get to the profile optimizer eventually. And while we're at it, we'll also grab the bridges. You never know when you might need to hack a bridge to get away from the police or something like that in another mission. Of course, we could have went into combat. We could have spent points there, crafted items, driving, hacking. There's a lot of places you can spend the points. It's all over the place. Now you also get notoriety skills. That was a militant vegan. I find that hilarious. Notoriety skills. Sorry, notoriety. Say it with me. These are more of like the violent levels, I guess you could say. If you plan on playing hardcore to some degree, not really hardcore, but they're based around your notoriety. So a lot of stuff to unlock, a lot of ways to unlock it. I find it hilarious that guy's a militant vegan.
What is it?
So this is Jordy Chin. Now, in a game full of, in my opinion, uninteresting characters, Jordy Chin is the interesting character, the only interesting character. In fact, that's one of the things that I don't really care about in Watch Dogs is the story, and it does kind of disappoint me because GTA 5 for me was a game that managed to pull me in on all levels. I was really excited about all the side missions and all of the other things, the different activities I could do, but at the same time, I was very, very interested in the main story and the characters involved with it. I mean, Grand Theft Auto 5 and Rockstar have shown us that you can in fact make an open world game with interesting characters. Hell, I think Saints Row even did a very good job of that. I mean, Johnny Gat, anyone? Come on. Aiden Pierce, on the other hand, he's just kind of a dude, you know, wearing a weird coat, looking real suspicious all the time. So far, I haven't really been able to feel anything for him. And the really, really heavily generic and trite story where his niece dies and blah, 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 blah. It's just so overdone in so many other different formats that I really don't care about what is going on with him. But that all aside, I don't really care that I don't care because of all of the small things that you can do inside of the game that make it genuinely fun. It reminds me a bit in that way of Far Cry 3. Far Cry 3 story, it wasn't terrible, but I can't say I cared too much about it. They did have some really good characters. Again, this game hit and miss with the characters so far. Who knows, I might run into even more characters on the road that I find more interesting, but currently, that's how I feel about that. But it has a ton of really cool side stuff to do. I mean, I haven't even really touched the main story. I've been too busy doing CTOS objectives, taking down these giant CTOS locations to gain more hacking power, knowledge, as well as what we're going to do right now as soon as we can get into a vehicle here. I think we'll actually make use of our phone to call one. These sort of side missions that you are granted simply by hacking people's phones and finding out information. I mean, you can tell that hacking is really at the core of the entire game. Oh, that's not where we wanted to go. Let's go down to Car on Demand. I mean, it's obviously that they made that their focus. It's something that they've pushed over and over and over and over on us, and that's fine. I'm glad that it is at the core of the game. So you can see we have all these different cars we can buy, or ones that are free, and we can get them hand-delivered directly to us. So go back to the parking garage here and grab that car. There's just a lot to do in the game, and it's fun, you know? It's genuinely fun, simply put. And I'm fine with that, you know, that it's not like the main things that I'm super hyped about. Does it kind of disappoint me that the story isn't more? Yes and no. I mean, we kind of knew that it wasn't going to be more for a very long time. I never really expected it to be like this groundbreaking world, but I kind of thought that the world of Watchdogs could have been something a little bit more unique and a little bit more special. And at the end of the day, at least so far, it's just become a really, really good sandbox playground, which is kind of what you want when you play an open world game. So like I said, I can't be 100% disappointed, and I'm sure that I will spend a lot of hours inside of this game. Now, driving is something that you'll get used to, but in my opinion, the driving is pretty poor. It's not absolutely terrible. I won't call it absolutely terrible as much as I would like to, but it's not good by any means. I don't think the handling is there. It's very iffy. I am playing with an Xbox 360 controller, which is what most people will probably be playing with. It just kind of makes sense. I mean, who the hell's going to play with a mouse and a keyboard in a game that requires this much driving? The cars themselves they do handle very differently. They sound great. The game as a whole sounds very, very, very nice. Let's grab this fixer contract. So fixer contract is simply a contract that we've gotten from hacking someone, finding out what's going on. Looks like we're just going to be eliminating some targets in this one. Simply put, they're always different. You can see we have 2 vehicles we have to eliminate. Well, 2 targets we have to eliminate that happen to be inside of 2 vehicles. So let's take our Vin Diesel RX-7 here and go check these guys out. Now, of course, we don't just need to we don't have to just ram these cars off the road. I mean, this is Watch Dogs. We have the power of the city and the CTOS system at our fingertips. So rather than just smashing everything to bits, we can use my absolutely atrocious driving skills to take these targets down using some hacking. So let's see if we can do that. Great music in the game, by the way, in terms of the music that's featured on the radio and the actual game music, which reminds me a lot of Tron, which is a good thing. So we were able to cause a car accident that didn't actually succeed, but we attempted to at least. Looks like we're gonna have to do it the old-fashioned way. It's 1 target down. So now we caused an accident, but we were too late. One of the small things I have noticed with the driving that kind of bothers me, I should say it does. It bothers me more than, you know, the small handling issue, which again, you get used to, you get over it, you learn to compensate for the car. is the fact that everything in the world is just like plastic. I mean, those are meant to stop cars, and you can just smash through them. It's obvious the reason they did it, though. There is so much stuff inside of the world of Watch Dogs. I don't think they wanted the player to have to be so concerned with... Oh, there we go, there's a takedown. With dealing with all of the crap that comes with really being, you know, dodging very intricately and avoiding all of these things. I don't know if this guy's bugged out, but we're taking him down. Call it a headshot and call it a day. Mission complete, we got a reward. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go find ourselves some mini games, because definitely need to show you guys the mini games. This is sort of the lighter side of Watch Dogs, I guess you could say. And it's also something that I quite enjoy just because they've done a very good job with them, let's just be honest. There's a crime detected, we'll ignore that one for now. Oh, don't want to pull the gun out. Whoops. Sorry. Everybody ignore that. Alright, so what we're looking for...
You know the game, you know the rules. True. Maybe better
Okay,
than I do.
we're not looking for the shell game. Although you can play the shell game if you want to. It's not something I'm too interested in, if I'm honest. Let's hack that guy while we're walking past him, why not? It's fun just to hack people, see what they're saying. Sometimes it'll lead you to a mission, sometimes it won't. Let's go ahead and go on a digital trip, though.
Some digital trips. Wild audio.
So now you guys may have seen these. You may have seen the spider tank one in videos. I know this was something that got released before the game was out. There's also Psychedelic and Madness. But one of the coolest ones is Alone. So we're going to go ahead and continue my game in Alone, which is nice because it's actually progressive. You get to continue it. It's a digital trip, not in the fact that you take a pill, but it's actually through the idea of audio. And a trip from audio. Alright, so... in Alone, you have to restore all the generators to light the city. I think it's the whole city, actually. It is. So, it's something that's meant to take a long period of time. You come back to this, and eventually you'll complete it. And I actually really like the idea that most mini-games are kind of like, oh, get to wave 10 and then come back and do it again. This has this actual sense of progression. So this area that we're in right now is an area that I've already cleaned out of the darkness. So we're going to drive over to one of these yellow waypoint markers on the map. We're going to enter back into the darkness. Like so. And the robot is going to kill me because I've driven into his line of sight. Let's run. So these robots actually get called down on the fly. They have a line of sight. If you get anywhere near them, they'll essentially try and take you out of your dream program, whatever you want to call it. Doing a really bad job of showcasing this, but it's not easy. And we're dead. Like I said, it's not easy. Let's try that one more time. Don't want to leave you guys hanging with just a really, really small clip of that, but it's nice to see that they've spent all the time on the mini games, because I mean, these open world games, that is generally something that you do spend a lot of time doing, and it's nice when they're actually interesting and you can actually progress in them. There's also a skill tree system actually inside of this, which is nice. So let's actually try and do some stealth here. But yeah, as you actually level up through the different areas and you... Oh, shit. This is bad. As you go through the different zones and actually, you know, clear out the darkness, you will actually unlock skill points, which can be used to hack things quicker, take down the robots. There's a ton of stuff you're going to be able to do with that. The real issue, though, is that these dudes are chasing me pretty quickly. So you want to be careful about your entry point, obviously, into the dark areas. Otherwise, you just die a bunch, like I've just done there. What are you going to do, though? What are you going to do? Sometimes you got to die. Alright, let's give it one more try, and then we'll go check out a couple of the other mini-games. I think they're worth showing off. The Spider Tank one, it is actually really freaking cool. Of course, all of this that I'm showing you guys, these are just the side missions. I haven't actually really touched upon any of the main story stuff, just because I'd rather show you guys the side missions, to be honest. The main story is cool, it's there. The missions that I've played for the main story so far, awesome. I'm a big fan of them, they're totally interesting. I mean, the actual setups anyways are interesting. I'm not saying that the story pieces are interesting, but playing the game is interesting. Let's take this dude down. Alright. So we have to get... we got a long way to go. Let's see if we can make it there. And like I said, these dudes are going to keep spawning in. They're not like... they just don't, you know, come and go. They show up over and over and over. And the farther you push into an area, the more of them will start to pop in and try and take you out. So you have to be very cautious about it. It's a good time, though. I want to address some of the things like the controls, character movement, which is all really, really well done. The controls themselves are great. They're very reminiscent of Assassin's Creed in ways, at least the way the control scheme works, with right trigger being your sprint key, allowing you to sort of go into a full speed run, which you can then parkour while you're in that run. Climbing is, again, very smooth. All the animations are very, very, very well done. This is gonna be bad. Let's man, we really should have took some of these guys out. Alright, let's see what we can do here. Let's just sneak our way over here. When you start to sprint, they do actually identify you a bit quicker, so if you can stay crouched, stay low, that is the recommended procedure for making your way to these waypoints. Let's take this guy down before this guy gets behind us. But overall, the time I've spent with the game it's been really enjoyable. It's taken me a while to get into it. You know, again, at first it didn't. I mean, the first thing you do when you play the game is you start playing pieces of the story, and when the characters don't pull you in and all of the small elements don't pull you in, it becomes really hard to say to yourself, like, how am I going to keep playing this? And then luckily they instantly throw you into the world, and you're pretty much just automatically doing these side missions, which to me are a bigger part of the game, at least a more interesting part of the game. I find them way more enjoyable than even being concerned about anything going on with the single player and the story, you know, the actual story progress. Now, in terms of the multiplayer, I have messed with it a little bit. I'm going to do a separate video on that, kind of showcase it for you guys, talk a little bit about where I think they could have done a lot more stuff with it, but, you know, obviously they decided, let's launch this new IP, and let's just focus on what's at hand and do a little bit of the multiplayer, which was kind of disappointing. There's also some huge issues going on with Uplay right now that are completely unacceptable. It's a terrible service. It's not a terrible service, but it doesn't have a good track record. Ubisoft hasn't done well with it, and it seems like every time there's a big launch that involves multiplayer that focuses on Uplay, there's some sort of an issue where it's like, you know, why did you bother using it? It does nothing but cause you issues. I think it's something that they should do away with, or at least find a better system for it, because it's just old, it's burnt out, and there's actually people who aren't able to play the game right now. I mean, I can't just let that go unknown. Just because I can play the game doesn't mean that there aren't people out there who are having such huge issues that they can't even play the game. That's terrible. I mean, you bought it, you're excited for it, and whatever's happening, authentication errors, and now you can't play the game. It's completely unacceptable. You know, this is the issue with the game companies, and they want to push these digital-only games. The fact is, you have to get the infrastructure there, you know? You can't tell us digital-only, we're going to buy all of our games day one, everything's going to be linked through, you know, through some sort of an online service that's going to force the game to, you know, have like DRM and stuff like that. Even if it doesn't have DRM, you're still forcing us to buy it digitally through some sort of a service that has to, you know, to go online to activate or to allow you to play the game, and then that said service is just broken. You know, that's no good. You can't do that. People shouldn't be, shouldn't be unable to play their games, their single-player game on launch day, because of some random server error. So they're working on that. Hopefully it gets sorted, and a lot of people who haven't been able to touch the game can get their hands on it. Let's actually back out of this one now. We spent enough time screwing around and alone. It's one of my favorite ones, though. I know it's like really small, but the progression in it is very intriguing. I'm very interested to go further with that. So as you can see, we can just wake up. The game will actually save from the last sort of darkness that we took down with that EMP tower, and we'll be able to continue on from there. And we wake up in the middle of nowhere again with a headache. So I don't think we won't bother with any of the other mini games there. Let me see if there's anything else I can show off to you guys. There's a lot of the small things that I really did want to focus on. Again, we have more of the gang hideouts. You have the fixer contracts. Those fixer contracts come in many different forms. You have, you know, the criminal convoy. Actually, we have over here. That's a different thing. You can go and buy different weapons. There's so many small things in the game that are a really, really good time that it's easy for me to overlook a lot of the things that really irritate me with the game. Small things, you know? And at the end of the day, Watch Dogs isn't like that crazy next-gen experience that Ubisoft tried to tease and tried to talk about, but we kind of always knew that. I mean, it was an open-world game. The hacking for them might have seemed like something that was going to be like groundbreaking, and in a sense, the hacking does actually provide a really interesting aspect to the gameplay, you know. And let's take, for example, Grand Theft Auto 5. You're running from the cops, you got 4.5 stars. The normal procedure is drive as fast as you can, go through as many small alleyways as you can, throw as many grenades and C4 out the back window as you can, and hopefully you'll make it into the countryside, where you can continue to blast across the open desert and avoid as many enemy helicopters and cars as you can. And Watch Dogs, it's a whole other element. Number one, you're in a city for the most part. Even when you go to the more open aspects of Chicago, where you're on the outskirts and there's some forest, there is never open terrain. So you're constantly in these tight-knit areas, there's tons of traffic around, there's tons of civilians around. So instead, you use your hacking device. You can deploy things like these blockers, you know, take out maybe 2 or 3 cop cars that were chasing you. You can screw with the stoplights, you can make them green, you can make them red, cause accidents. The hacking provides a whole nother element to how you play the game. It really does. It's more intertwined. It's not really an individual element in itself when it comes to interacting with your gameplay directly, but it's always there. You're always using it nonstop, whether it be doing this, taking control of a camera just to hack this guy. Maybe I'm taking control of a camera to look over a wall to unlock a door that I couldn't get to. Maybe I'm just walking around just to see what people have to say. This guy lives a minimalist lifestyle. That guy's a gambling investor, or gambled investment portfolio. Medicated for low libido. You can take a look at their bank accounts. You can choose to be a complete dick and steal their money. You can really do whatever you want. So, at the end of the day, my first impressions of Watch Dogs is that it's a really, really great open world sandbox game. Does it really break new ground? Does it have a very interesting story to tell? Is the setting in the game something completely new and fresh? No. But am I having an absolute ton of fun with it? Yes. Yes, I am. Despite all the optimization issues and all the other small things I've had to deal with Uplay, at the end of the day, the game has just been a true joy to me. For small things like this, you can buy an energy drink. The world itself is very, very much alive as well. It's one of the big things I like about the game is there's a lot of detail in the city. It's a very nice looking game, even on medium settings. It's just really pretty to look at, pretty much all of the time. So that's my thoughts on Watch Dogs, guys. If you have any questions about the game, feel free to let me know in the comments section below. And I guess the one thing I wanted to ask you guys, maybe, you know, people out there who aren't picking up Watch Dogs, was just on the topic of open world games. In the past, I guess, let's say 10 years, what has been your favorite open world title? Whether it be a Saints Row game, a Grand Theft Auto game, something that I've left out here. Let me know in the comment section below. I really want to hear from you guys. And I'll see you in the next one.
Hey, fuckface! Remember me?
Please, no! Oh, God, no!
Ah!
No, get down! I gotta get home!
Oh, God.
If I were home, it's got to be home here. I know.